Hello, 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 everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. Mm, Let me make sure. Hello, 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 everyone. Listening to myself on my channel. I can hear me, so if I can hear me, you can hear me. To start making my streams like immediately after Ollie's show, so you guys can just come in from one show into the other show. Hi, Scarter. It makes it easier to flow. I don't want to make you guys wait too much because that way you got something going. Making you guys wait to an hour for an hour, maybe you know you guys get too busy, and that'll be my loss. So I hope everyone is well. We're gonna talk a little bit about anti-Semite retards, specifically Candace Owens. Candace Owens has been going crazy, attacking Turning Point USA, attacking Erika Kirk, attacking Israel, attacking everything that Charlie Kirk loved, basically. And there's been a lot of talk. There has been a whole lot of talk about how sometimes it's the people that are inside your group who will not take the first opportunity to turn against you, right? So Candace was kind of like a friend to Charlie Kirk, part of Turning Point USA. And but the second she saw an opportunity, she turned on Turning Point USA. She created a whole bunch of conspiracy theories about them, tied them up to Israel, tied them up to Brigitte Macron. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And I think it's Andrew Wilson, is I'm pretty sure, was debating her. And his number one tool to debate her was Candace Owens. Because, it was like the best way to defeat Candace Owens is Candace Owens. Like you just use the words that she used and say, "Did you say this? I never said that." Show the video of her saying that. What did you mean by that? Well, let me change the subject. That's pretty much how it went the whole time, as far as I've heard. This is let me go to the share stage. This is the thumbnail I made about this. So here he is, she is, with her little tinfoil hat. Andrew Wilson uses Candace Owens to defeat Candace Owens. Critical of Trump, gun control now, system is broken, follow the science, vaccines are safe, masks save lives. I don't know. These are other positions she's held. This has less to do with what was in the debate, more for you to know she's kind of been a bit of a leftist most of her life, which is another subject we should probably tackle. So I'm definitely gonna get into that. Like my main source of inspiration and information on the retardation of Candace Owens is, of course, the great, the wonderful, the magnificent Nux Taku. Nux Taku is a wonderful person, and I love that guy. He's my inspiration, and he is my main resource when it comes to understanding what's been going on with Candace. So we're gonna get into this pretty soon. I'm gonna try to find you guys some clips about this Candace Owens fight. Right? Let me look her up here. Candace Owens debate. Oh my god, it's very popular. So let me take this off the stage and bring up this. All right. First, we're gonna have a little audio test. Make sure you guys can hear. Oh, let's play some of this. Can you guys hear this?
He said,
okay,
is
now
going
let me
to
know if
make
you guys
the
can hear this.
majority people hate him so much more. It was such a bad propaganda video. I was mentioning at the Persian show, like Ghalibaf, I know you watch my
You
show.
can't hear that?
Obviously, what are you doing?
Yes. Oh, I hadn't brought it up.
First
There
of
was
all,
a
you
point I
shouldn't be
hadn't brought it
defending
up yet. I was
yourself.
just testing in the
You
background.
shouldn't be talking
Loud
about
and clear?
yourself.
Okay, all right.
You should be paying.
So,
agree with her. No, we all know.
this is Crowder talking to Andrew Wilson. All right. There was nowhere I needed to go to demonstrate what it was I was trying to demonstrate, which was that these people have lots and lots of claims, and the second they're confronted with them, they back off on all of them every single time.
That there are people who will agree with you. And by the way, PBD's crowd mostly thought you won. We'll bring up our own poll. But you know that there are people who will already agree with you no matter what, people who will agree with her no matter what. Then there are some who have ears to hear, eyes to see. How do you think that needle will be moved from today?
I think it's the beginning of a snowball effect.
Okay.
So now that she's been challenged, I think, and had to give an accounting for the evidence, did a very poor job. I think that more of them will feel compelled to do more of these debates, or at least I'm hoping so.
Yeah, because now they have to actually, okay, so what do you have? Like, it's good to talk, in an echo chamber where everyone agrees with you. But what do you have when you're confronted with someone that doesn't agree with you, right? Because I guarantee you, Candace Owens is not going to have school discussions like we have in Liberty Politics where you get to disagree with each other. That's not going to happen because she's in an echo chamber. So is Ian Carroll. So are a lot of these I hate America so much that I'm going to defend the furry shooter. Like these are extremes. Oh, how you doing, Jose?
And I think that that'll create the snowball effect. At least that's what I'm hoping. But ultimately, there wasn't a need to push back too much on too many things because she just admitted that she didn't have any evidence for anything.
Well,
so
that was
where do you go from there? You're like, hey, do you have any evidence for that? And they're like, no. She went back on all of her claims. And so, where do you go from there? In other words, there was nowhere I needed to go to demonstrate what it was I was trying to demonstrate, which is that these people have lots and lots of claims, and the second they're confronted with them, they back off on all of them. Every single time. Her sources, what a joke that was. My sources told me. Well, what validates your sources? The fact that I've released some, footage and stuff. Yeah. How would that validate your sources in these things? That makes no sense at all. These, I think ultimately, I'm sure that there's going to be some negative clips about me, especially pushed by the Owens people. But ultimately,
I'm going to do some negative clips on you, but that's just for funsies.
Of course. But ultimately, she didn't have anything. She had nothing. She literally had nothing. And so what made this an easy debate for
Okay, Jose. Okay, no, if you're busy, I understand. But you can, hopefully you can comment, whatever you want to comment. Would love to hear from you.
me was that she didn't fucking have nothing. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yes. Okay, so apparently this is a finishing blow.
Can
you name all seven?
I can't. Do you know any of the charges he's up for right now?
Okay.
Are going out and they're going to look for.
Erika's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
Yeah. Could also just ask
her. Erika.
I never said complicit. I never attacked her. Look at this. Candace Owens got utterly humiliated when pressed on attacking Erika Kirk. Andrew played a video of Candace saying Erika Kirk is complicit. Candace, I never said complicit. I never attacked her.
Erika's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
That's also just asking.
And so right now their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? How could you sit up there and say, yes, I 100% believe Tyler Robinson did it. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erika Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because
those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Erika Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson...
Yeah, if I believe Tyler Robinson, the armed furry that's been unstable for months, estranged from his family, took a family gun and shot people like the 3 or 4 furries that did it before. Because we have to remember the pattern here. There was a lot of furry shootings. A lot of them. Remember one of them that wrote on the bullets, Bella Ciao? I think it was. I think he shot at a church. There's been a lot of these. They shot at an ice center. Like, there's a lot of these crazy people. But, oh, no. Candace wants to blame the Jews, just like the left. The left is just getting covered. You're like, oh, it's not our guy? Okay, go ahead. Blame the Jews. I don't care. As long as you're not blaming the left. So the left runs cover for her. And she just blames the Jews because she's a leftist. She always was.
Was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk. Let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit?
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Oh, I believe that Tyler Robertson did it, therefore I'm part of the conspiracy. What the fuck does that mean?
In his death?
I didn't say implicit in death. You added those 2 words.
Okay, it's what's she complicit in?
Yes. So sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to come in
well,
and
tell
debate.
me,
So
what
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping
What
it
does
up.
complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview. And Erika, when she is asked, "Are you one? You know, do you feel with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson did this?" And she said,
We have to remember, at this point, they found videos of him. They found, like, they knew, this is on Barry Weiss, so this was a little bit after the investigation had gone forward a little bit. His parents had turned him in. They knew about his furry boyfriend. Like, they knew a lot about Tyler Robinson by the time they did this. At this point, this crazy Israel stuff, it wasn't that much part of the news. What was part of the news was a whole lot of leftist shootings. Leftist shooting churches, leftist shooting at an ICE facility, leftist shooting at a news station. That is what was all over the news. This whole thing, Israel did every shooting, that Candace started that.
says, I do. Then, again, context matters. I sit down with Erika for 4 hours under the assumption that she had some evidence, right? Like I'm like, this is why I did not engage in.
Why would Erika have the evidence that is under police lock and key and only given to the defense so the defense can use it to basically, help him not get murdered? The defense doesn't want all the evidence out there. I don't think it's even legal because it's still part of an investigation. At the point at which he's talking about, this was all still part of the investigation. Why would Erika have the evidence?
In any Erika, everyone's questioning what
Conspiracies happen. Like, we all know that there's conspiracies. But this level is retarded. I don't think she's mentally ill. I think she's a grifter.
she's wearing and all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to wait here because I don't know, just it feels weird to think that, did I think that some of her mannerisms were weird?
feels weird, mannerisms weird. None of this is evidence. And you're basically accusing a widow with 2 kids of killing her husband. Feels weird, weird vibes. She's going on vibes, guys.
And stuff like that. Yeah, but that's not, you can't convict somebody on weird mannerisms. And then when I sat down with her and I was expecting for her to say, well, you know, I'm obviously the victim on the case and we got to see the shot, you know, taken or this or that, whatever it is. Great. You know, that's why she has that much confidence 2 months ago. And when I sat down with her, it was nothing. It was nothing. Okay. So this is a conversation.
How would that make her?
So, okay. So she doesn't have the police evidence of the ongoing trial. So what? Yeah. Do you believe that guy that the family had him picked up, that he basically confessed he has a furry boyfriend? Do you think that guy probably did it? No, I'm pretty sure he did it. Oh, that means you're an accomplice.
Complicit.
Complicit. And again, you said complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Complicit in what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you...
Because we've just seen furries shooting people everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, furry just shot a school. Another furry shot a detention center. Another furry shot a fucking news station. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna believe that. We're definitely gonna believe that. Okay, so let me explain what Candace Owens is doing. I'm going to explain to you. Candace Owens has always been a leftist. She started on Social Autopsy. Like, as Scarter is saying, okay, let me read it out. My daughter is Candace Owens, a Candace fan, and how I got into searching info about Iran, found Armin, but still trying to understand why my daughter thinks Candace is so great. We used to agree on everything politics. Okay, so here is the thing. Women have a tendency to enjoy crime dramas and unsolved mystery dramas. If you look at all the statistics, this is something that women really, really enjoy. How she killed her husband, how her husband killed her, unsolved mystery, missing mystery. This is not me saying it. This is just statistically, women enjoy that way more than men. Now, what Candace was doing, she was creating a mystery, basically drama, and every day she would leave it on a cliffhanger. And she did that for like a month. That's why there's so many versions of who the real killer is. Because to leave a cliffhanger, sometimes she would have to leave different alleged killers and things that happen. And we have a new revelation coming in the next show. And we have a new source coming in the next show. So what she did is she combined murder mystery with real life crime drama with a soap opera. This is basically hugely targeted at women, at conservative women. She probably has always hated conservative women. Now, just to back myself up, Grok, I'm going to ask you about the type of media that people consume, especially women. Now, I have heard that women are more fond of real life documentaries of crime, unsolved mystery, missing persons mysteries, just real crime documentaries, and all this type of crime whodunit.
Yeah, that's spot on. Studies consistently show women make up the majority of true crime fans, anywhere from 70 to 93% of the audience for podcasts, docs, and books. The big reason isn't just morbid curiosity. It's something researchers call defensive vigilance. Women often use these stories to learn warning signs, spot red flags, and figure out how to stay safe in real life. They tend to dig deeper into cases involving female victims or sexual violence because those hit closer to home. Men watch too, but they're more into the puzzle solving or organized crime side. Women lean toward the emotional and survival angle. Makes total sense when you think about it. What got you curious about this?
Candace Owens got me curious because she has shaped her show and gained her most recent audience by shaping the death of Charlie Kirk into a murder mystery drama.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Candace turned Charlie Kirk's assassination into a serialized whodunit, questioning the official story, pointing fingers at Turning Point insiders, his widow, even floating foreign involvement. It's classic true crime format: sudden violent death, grieving family, inconsistencies, and a host promising to uncover what they don't want you to know. Her audience exploded because of it. She's gained millions of followers, and her podcast became one of the fastest growing in the space. A lot of those new listeners are women who already love the genre for the reasons we talked about: spotting red flags, feeling like they're investigating alongside her. It's smart on her part. She took a real tragedy and packaged it as the ultimate unsolved mystery drama. People eat that up. What do you think of how she's handled it?
Okay, so when I'm telling you that she is directing this at women, I want you to see studies consistently show women make up a majority of true crime fans, anywhere from 70 to 93% audience for podcasts, docs, and books. Uh, I don't mind at all. Like I appreciate it actually. No, 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 no. Okay, okay. I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying why some people like, okay, let's say Agatha Christie. You could really like Agatha Christie and you could be really into it even if you don't buy it, right? Especially women, apparently. And I think that's a majority of her audience. I don't want you to feel identified or like I'm derailing you or like I'm I'm using your comment as a great segue, you know, and thank you for reminding me so I can explain to people why Candace got her audience, why she is exploiting Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA, why she is doing the things that she's doing. I'm gonna confess something. I'm gonna confess something. I was a Candace Owens fan, but when she was with Ben Shapiro. Why? Because when she was with Ben Shapiro, I'm guessing Ben Shapiro was writing the scripts, she was going after BLM, showing that they were a bunch of grifters stealing the money. It was investigative, but it was actually investigative, which is why I think Shapiro's team was who was behind those investigations. Because if you look at her work under Ben, her work under Ben is solid. So anyone that knew her under the Ben Shapiro era were gonna think, "Oh, yeah, she's great. I'm a fan." Like I was a fan myself. Now, when she took this religious bent, right, and started this feud with Ben, I'm guessing. Look, her husband is a British lord, right? So she doesn't do it for the money. She did it for the fame and the power. Once she got a little bit of notoriety with Ben and a little bit of woke didn't work for her. She failed at woke. She tried it for I think nearly a decade and failed at the woke grift. So she's gonna try the conservative grift. Was more successful as the conservative grift, but she doesn't want to be under Ben anymore. So she creates a fake fight, or maybe a real fight because she doesn't like. She wants more money, whatever it is. Starts this fight with Ben and then separate. Yeah, I think she married. I don't know why she married. If you look at the interviews about the marriage, it is so fucking weird. She likes to say weird, but that's a weird marriage. So when you look at that, you'd understand why some people are Candace fans, because when she was under Ben and Ben was giving her the script, she was great. Then she started this bullshit fight over Israel, and she split off and became like severely anti-Semitic, like extremely anti-Semitic.
You say, okay, great. I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all of this is on my show. So out of context clips is not going to work because I know what I say on my show.
Okay.
So we call her lawyer, and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? And he says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state.
Yeah, exactly. At a probable cause hearing, what you do is you say, hey, do we have enough for a case here? That's all you do at a probable cause here.
Says that they're going to bring this forward. And now our people go out and they look for the evidence to assert that Tyler Robinson is guilty.
Okay, so you got to remember, back when Tucker turned and she turned was before Charlie died. She turned before. She started using Christ is King as a way to argue with Ben, started arguing with Ben about October 7, about, a Gaza genocide, like all the leftist shit. She still says it, like genocide in Gaza, like all that shit. And Ben is like, no, what happened on October 7 is horrible. Like when people started marching in defense of October 7 and making, from the river to the sea marches in New York, that's around the time that she turned on Ben. Like it was October 7th. That's when she turned. Like I remember this shit. Like Charlie Kirk thing, that kind of made it crazy, but she has always been in the background of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to tell you what I think about her marriage. I think she married a gay guy that needs to have an alleged wife for his lordship and all his bullshit. I don't think he really, like she's basically a diversity prop for this noble British lord.
Guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen anything that the public hasn't seen? And he says, no.
No, you're not supposed to. It's an investigation. Okay, at that point, I think they closed the investigation. Well, no. Maybe. Because there's a probable cause hearing, that means you have enough to go to court. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean just because you're Erika Kirk's lawyer, that doesn't make you part of the defense or part of the the prosecution. So you would not have more information than the public. That's not how that works. What you would have as a lawyer is everything made public during the probable cause hearing. You don't have a special privilege as the wife to get extra information that other people don't get. Like the people that get to see all of the evidence is not the public, it's the prosecution and the defense. The rest of that comes later with the trial. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. That's what I think. Okay, this is my interpretation. She's a woman scorned by Charlie's rejection. I think she tried to get with Charlie. Charlie said, look, you're not my type, but I don't want this to be a thing between us. I want us to continue as friends because we have a common goal against the left. and you know, I considered you a friend and a confidant and all this. And she has to stay scorned, right? And watch him accept a white woman, watch him get married, have the kids she wanted, and just stay in the cut. Bitter. Marry some guy she doesn't even like, I don't think like. They don't even talk.
So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erika saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public and people bit?
She was sent out to convince the public. So this is where the deception comes. How do you know she was sent out? Sent out by who was giving her orders? What are you talking about? You're making this shit up. Who sent her out to convince the public? This is ridiculous. This is retarded. What do you mean she was sent out to convince the public? By who?
By the way, I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, you know, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have.
Why would you think that? The people who have access to things is the prosecution and the defense. And the prosecution and the defense aren't just going to willy-nilly give Candace Owens evidence or give Erika Kirk evidence. That's for the trial. As far as I know, even at the point of trial, every piece of evidence on a case isn't just spread out eagle for the public. I don't think that's how any of these cases work. I think you have to make some kind of Freedom of Information Act, like a FOIA for that shit.
Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's probably.
And that would be after the trial, not during.
He's involved. They
But
made an
I
arrest.
don't understand, how would any of this make her complicit? And then,
Like, I think court records do become public after the trial, but I don't think that happens during the trial. Let me ask. I have a question about trials. When it comes to the evidence, I know that the defense and the prosecution has access to the defense. Does the public get access to all the evidence, or does that happen after the trial through some kind of FOIA request?
During the trial, the public sees most of the evidence that gets presented in open court. When prosecutors or the defense show photos, videos, documents, or other exhibits to the jury, anyone in the courtroom or watching a live stream can see them too. That's why high-profile cases like Charlie Kirk's have drawn so much attention. People get to watch the evidence unfold in real time. But not everything is public right away. Some graphic evidence, like autopsy photos or sensitive videos, might only be shown to the judge, lawyers, and jury, not broadcast or displayed to the gallery. And the full raw evidence that the two sides exchanged in discovery, the public doesn't automatically get that. After the trial, access gets trickier. There's a common law right to request
No.
court records
Okay.
and admitted
What I'm asking about is if you're still at the probable cause hearing, can you get evidence that, number one, the jury hasn't seen? There isn't even a jury yet. Number two, hasn't even been brought up in court. Like, because Candace Owens is claiming, oh, she should have, Erika Kirk should have more evidence. Erika Kirk's lawyers should have more evidence. Like, why should Erika or her lawyer have more access? These are not the prosecution or defense lawyers. Why would they have any access to special evidence not public? Also, what about the evidence that is not brought up in court? Would the public get any of that? Because it seems ridiculous. I don't think the public gets access to all evidence during a trial, just what's openly discussed in court because it's a public hearing. Also, I don't think even after the court, these records are just open. I think you have to ask for access.
At a probable cause hearing like the one in Charlie Kirk's case, the public only sees what gets presented in open court.
Okay,
The hearing is
I
basically a
know
mini
the
trial
12
for the
Monkeys
judge to
movies is
decide if there's
pretty
enough
good, but I
evidence to
wasn't
go to a full
any
trial.
of those monkeys.
No jury yet, just the judge. The prosecution shows witnesses, videos, photos, confessions, and physical evidence in the courtroom. If it's live streamed or open to the public, you see that. But judges often restrict graphic stuff, like certain autopsy details, sensitive videos, or specific exhibits from being shown to the gallery or broadcast. In this case, some evidence was kept off the live stream and not fully displayed. The full discovery file, the complete pile of evidence the prosecution has, including stuff not yet shown in court, that's not public. Only the defense gets that from the prosecution. The public doesn't automatically see everything the cops collected. Erika Kirk, as the victim's widow, doesn't get special access to the full evidence either. She's not the prosecution or defense. She has victims' rights to attend hearings, be informed, and sometimes view certain things, but not the right to the entire investigative file. That's why Candace Owens' claim that Erika should have more evidence doesn't really hold up legally. The family pushed to see more during the hearing, but the judge decided what gets shown on a case-by-case basis. After the hearing or trial, you can request court records and admitted exhibits through the court clerk, but raw police files and unpresented evidence are much harder to get, often protected as investigative records. FOIA doesn't usually unlock active criminal case files either. You're right, it's not ridiculous. The system keeps a lot private to protect the investigation, the defendant's fair trial rights, and victims. Only what's openly presented in court is truly public in real time.
You see? That's why everything that this bitch is saying is ridiculous. Everything. Her whole line of reasoning here is ridiculous. Like, don't you know how that works? Like, are you retarded? That's the question. Are you retarded?
What?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut
How's
case.
she trying
How is she trying
to fool the public into this? If she believes
Like,
it,
don't look
if she
anywhere
believes
else.
that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, how would that be complicit in anything?
I do.
Are you
believe-
saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right, but so,
Okay, so just her opinion. Right. Yes. Okay, so I'm with High Turbine. She is an opportunistic drifting twat. Oh, exclusive. We have an exclusive report here from Panteran. Bridget Macron's balls did it. Oh my God. Chat. I want to thank you, Panteran, because you know what? That's the kind of Candace Owens exclusive that we haven't had around here. Thank you. That was funny. Yeah, but who's gonna do it? Yeah, High Turbine is saying Candace Owens should be sued into oblivion. Yeah, she probably should, but she's probably, skirting, between defamation in and out, like on the edges of defamation to the point where it's hard. Well, you'd have to prove damages. And it's hard to prove damages, and you got to go through anti-slap.
so when you just say complicit, you just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it
No
seem like I
strategy.
said
You
she
can
was
explain
complicit.
everything.
Yeah, but then why not just play the full thing? Like why? And
Because
when
we
we don't
don't
have
have
20
like
hours.
infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing.
Come to you first. And so before we wrap up, final thoughts, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, she had nothing. Just nothing. For all of her claims of Patsy, nothing. She didn't have a single claim. She didn't have a single solid.
By the way, we're not trying to replace this comment. This is a news story, YouTube. We're not trying to replace this podcast. We're commenting on it. This is hot news. Everyone is talking about this. Candace Owens basically trying to, promote like extreme far-right anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that are ridiculous. And we're just showing how she's basically inventing all this.
A piece of evidence. She had no positive evidence Israel's involved in anything. No positive evidence that France is involved.
Okay, Nanny needs to do volunteer work for TPUSA as a poll watcher. Do you trust her? I wouldn't let her do volunteer work at a septic plant. I don't trust her.
involved in anything. No positive evidence TPUSA is involved in anything. No positive evidence that Erika Kirk is involved in anything. When I ask her about her claims about Erika Kirk, yeah, it's just funning. It's just funning, you know? Or, yeah, I do think that she needs to sit down and ask some questions, but, or answer some questions, but you know what? I don't even know if she has. Like, maybe she has. I have no idea. Yes, I'm going to have an official timeline with unconfirmed evidence. That's just fine. Hey, it's hearsay. If that's good enough for the state, it's good enough for me. But my biggest problem with the state is that they're admitting all this hearsay.
Like she's contradicting herself constantly all the way through.
It's like she's a contradiction machine. On top of all of this, the thing that I wanted to get out of this more than anything else was to just demonstrate one thing. Yes, it's true. I'm not perfect on the case. I'm not going to ever pretend that I am, and never did. But what has been made very clear to me is that there's nobody with an alternative theory that has any evidence for it at all. None. Zero. And the continuous kind of expression, we're running an investigation. What kind of investigation builds a timeline out on a receipt that they don't even confirm? What kind of
a lot of everything that she said that she was going to prove, all her cliffhangers turned out to be bullshit.
Investigation tries to make these bold claims that Israel's involved and France is involved and all these different players are involved and never shows any evidence. We're just asking questions. It's again, like I said in my opening, it's always intuition, my feelings, how I feel about things, how I think about things.
Vibes, feelings.
Andrew, how many times do you hear this today? Andrew, you can't tell me how I'm supposed to think. Yeah, nobody's trying to tell you how to think. But you should rationally come to your conclusions based on evidence and facts. And the truth is that 90% of what you're saying is simply intuition based. It came to me in a dream. It's intuition. Almost none of it has any evidence at all. Just, I'm skeptical because these people over here said things and that makes me skeptical. And it's like, but no evidence. Note this to the audience, to everybody watching. You might hate my guts. That's fair enough. I get that. I'm not the most likable man. I understand that too. But there was nothing. I mean, no evidence at all that Tyler Robinson was a patsy that was ever put forward by Candace this entire debate.
Yes, because Tyler Robinson fucking did it, which is why, oh my God, he did it.
Now, maybe you could say that we stalemated when it came to whether or not Robinson did it. She says, I found the evidence convincing, or unconvincing. Andrew says he found the evidence convincing. Okay, fair enough. Maybe you can't do too much about that, but there was nothing. She had nothing for Robinson being a patsy, nothing for any of her conspiracies, nada, zero, zilch. And she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard her back away from the Erika thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now. Whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims. So she just had nothing the entire debate. Zero.
Candace.
Yeah.
If you can't,
The debate was basically unwatchable. But what is truly striking is how Charlie Kirk has become a background character in the endless soap opera about his own murder. The story now revolves about raging narcissist Candace Owens and the mass psychosis she has induced. You know what? I don't like a lot of Nick's views, but he's right about that. I want to show you something. I wonder what this guy has to say.
Alisana sent $20. What kind of best good friend accepts $300,000 to debate someone about their BFF's assassination anyway? No one has morals anymore. She should at least give the money to his children.
Yeah, she shouldn't take the money. That's insane.
She's immensely rich. She doesn't need the money, by the way.
Like, you just can't take the money on its face. You know, what a
I don't like this guy. He's an anti-Semite and an isolationist. Like, even if he loved Jews, I don't like isolationists. And I especially don't like anti-Semites, just because it's illogical and deceitful most of the time. But a broken clock is right twice a day.
bad look that is. You're a multi-millionaire. Like, you have to know that she's loaded. The viewership that she gets, the ad money, the ad reads that she makes on the show, the super chats, the subscriptions, she's probably got to be clearing $1 million a month, would be my guess. I mean, something like that. Probably between $500,000, maybe $1 million a month.
a lot of
between
money.
the AdSense, the ad reads, which she does multiple per show, the subscriptions on the Candace Owens site. I think she does merch. That's got to be like, I mean, we're talking maybe $500,000, $1 million, maybe more every month. To take the $300,000 and you just can't do it because it can't be about the truth and avenging your dead friend and also the money. It just can't. It can't be about both. It's got to be one or the other. Like, if your whole thing is I have profited so fabulously from this story, and that's accidental, or incidental. Yeah, I'm avenging my dead friend, and I've turned my show into a soap opera about his death because I just really care, and I just really want to get to the bottom of it. By the way, I've also enriched myself to the tune of millions of dollars. Okay, fine. But then you can't go and take $300,000 to debate the merits of your claims. What a bad look. We have to pay a ransom for her to defend her claims. She's accusing Erika Kirk of being a murderer. She's deputized her followers to harass civilians. Like,
Yeah, she does that a lot. Oh, geez. Okay, we're going to talk about what you said, Nova, in a second.
random people in the crowd. She's like the terror of Turning Point USA. And now you're going to take a $300,000 payday on behalf of Charlie's estate or something for the debate. It's totally ridiculous. So it would just even be from an optical point of view. From an optical point of view, it would be better to just say, I'm not taking the money. You don't need the money. From an optical point of view, it would just be better, even for no reason other than cynical self-interest, to say, you know what? I don't need the money. It's not about the money. I just want to shut down the Fed slop narrative. I mean, that would be the better way to handle it. It would also be the right thing to do. But
Yeah, he's right about that, but he didn't say anything that I'm too... Like, we're going to get into more of this, but I want to get into more of Candace Owens' her theory, because her theory changed so much. Oh, what's this?
And Sam Altman and Peter Thiel. And I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean? Like, they just
I'm pretty sure they're not human. They're hybrid humans.
look like an Apple software that I should be able to download at night, like when my phone's getting an update or something. It's something in the eyes. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I know I'm human, but I don't know if I stabbed you if you bleed, I'm not going to stab them, but I don't know if they bleed all the way. I think a battery would fall out. You know what I mean? And
You
I
could
just
say
get
this is
that sense.
comedy.
I've always known it was demonic, better to indoctrinate us into accepting this. And it's wrong and it's backwards. And the main component of all of this is psychology, right? They're able to do it because of psychology. And yet they are convincing us that this is like humanity's great leap forward. We put a man on the moon. And all Aleister Crowley proteges who were just raping kids and summoning demons, and demons are real. And that has been, I think, the greatest
whether or not you can draw a line from the Khazar Empire. The Khazarian Empire, my understanding, and I have not done enough research into it, essentially it was an empire. And can you fact check if, again, this would be in Ukraine? What would be modern Ukraine? And let me know in my ear when you dig that up, Mark.
Okay, so the Jews are why Ukraine is fighting Russia. It's not their invasion. This is the one I'm looking for.
Jewish donors and a rabbi that Charlie and
Okay, so this is all the theories. This is the one I've been looking for, all right? Just because we've seen this before. Chat, bear with me if you've seen it before. But I want to include it here because if I make a clip out of this, I want to be able to say, hey, these are all the theories. Oh, before we start with that, I think I got a computer fix. Hope it never installs Malwarebytes extension. It will destroy your computer. I used it for like 2 years, and then all of a sudden it started being a major virus. Okay, so here's the thing. You should always have a USB where you could just wipe Windows. Right? Because the files you have there, they'll stay in a folder called Windows Old. And if things get too bad, you just reinstall Windows and it'll remove every software that's in there. Now, if you have work stuff in there and you definitely have to have that operating system continue, yeah, there's ways around that. Like even with stuff like ChatGPT, you could ask ChatGPT, hey, my computer's going crazy. I think it's this malware bytes thing. Why am I having all these pop-ups? Tell me how I can give you a diagnostics and explain what's going on. And it'll help you. Like I know quite a bit about computers, and even I use ChatGPT to help me work through some diagnostics. Like find why it's if it has a sudden shutdown. What's the latest way to log a sudden shutdown so that the next time it happens, I know all the things that happened before the shutdown and I can diagnose, right? That kind of thing. It's very important. And the only thing I use, let me see. I do have a program called Process Lasso that lets me see what processes are running and if I got to block a process, I just block it. If I want a certain process to have more CPU cores, less CPU cores, if I want to park it on 2 cores and not let it run with everything, right? I do that. That's a little bit more complicated, like Process Lasso. It's a little advanced, but it'll give your computer a little bit more oomph if it's a little bit of an older model. Especially if you're running a laptop, because it has things that's good for the battery. But I wouldn't use it alone. I'd use it with ChatGPT and make it run diagnostics all the time. It's like, okay, how can you show me? Because it has logs. How can I give you the log so you can analyze the log and tell me what I have to do? Other than that, let me see. Good to have a VPN. Sometimes it's good to have like one of those VPN. Like I got this one that's like the router is already from a VPN company. Those are good. Like if you're really afraid of like getting hacked or of like, I don't know, unmasking the deep state.
No. Do you mean
Oh, no.
well, do you mean that the New York Times wrote it itself?
How do we know? That's all I'm saying is how do we know?
I genuinely can't.
Oh my God. Okay, let's get back to what we were gonna. Oh, let me hide this comment. Let's get back to what I was gonna do here. Go through all her theories, because I want to show how all her theories changed.
Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright.
No. He said he was going to stop taking donations from them. He never said he was going to stop supporting Israel. He said he was going to stop taking donations from pro-Israel donors because they were a little controlling, and he wanted to defend Israel his own way. He never said he was going to stop defending Israel. He, in fact, laid out and sent straight to Netanyahu, an outline of how he thought Israel could have gains in the cyberspace. So this is an utter lie. But that's her first theory. He was going to stop supporting Israel. First of all, it's not true. Second of all, it's not true, and that's her first theory. Let's go for the second theory.
He wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself, and then did he just 48 hours later?
You say you had to replace the hard drive. What kind of hard drive you had? Like, it should be like a SSD. Like if you have a spinning disk, well, that's your problem. A spinning disk is something you should not have. Your hard drive should be a solid state drive.
Conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our on-stage reunion could happen.
Oh, also, it was all about her reunion with him. And she is very anti-Israel.
Whether or not Charlie's assassination was meant to distract us from the Brigitte Macron investigation, and rightfully so. That is
Oh, the assassination is like, okay, meant to. Was meant to. That's the purpose of the assassination. That's the purpose of the assassination. It was meant to
distract us from the Brigitte Macron investigation. And
Holy
rightfully
shit.
so. That is a fair question. Because as you guys know, it was Charlie Kirk that called me and told me that they wanted me to stop speaking about Brigitte. The hell was Charlie Kirk doing in Korea? If I had to today give you my best guess as to
So the second theory is Brigitte Macron, because she had a lawsuit with Brigitte Macron. Therefore, it must have been about the thing that's involving her.
why Charlie Kirk was assassinated, it's because an offer came to him to become the next moon. And you just turn the other way. Don't ask questions about where the money's coming from or how you're getting the money. Just keep things afloat. Because, you know, why not? If Moon could help the CIA traffic in the name of the Lord, why couldn't Charlie Kirk's organization do that? I think this is what Charlie Kirk turned down, and the help me just an offer gave you and told me in Korea that they wanted me to stop speaking about Brigitte. The hell was Charlie Kirk doing in Korea?
Okay, so Korean CIA child traffickers wanted Charlie Kirk to be part of their Korean CIA child trafficking organization. Yes, some guy named Moon, Todd Fulton says the Moon. No, probably. This is me guessing. It could be the actual Moon, or like a position. Mr. Moon is always the trafficker, but like there's CIA child traffickers in Korea, and Charlie Kirk was supposed to become the next trafficker, and he said no. And that's why they killed him. Okay.
If I had to Kirk was assassinated today, give you my best guess as to
Did they give you my best guess? Because you'll have a different best guess tomorrow.
why Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's because an offer came to him to become the next moon. And you just turn the other way. Don't ask questions about where the money's coming from or how you're getting the money. Just keep things afloat. Because, you know, why not? If Moon could help the CIA traffic in the name of the Lord.
Oh, okay. So it's a Christian child trafficking CIA ring. Korean. So it's a Korean Christian CIA child trafficking ring. Okay. And that's who assassinated him.
Why couldn't Charlie Kirk's organization do that? I think this is what Charlie Kirk turned down. And the one person who stood between America's involvement with a full-scale war in Iran was Charlie Kirk, 31-year-old. He's the person that's stopping us.
Okay, the guy who was giving Netanyahu advice on how to stop the bullshit claims that anti-Semites make, he was going to stop the war in Iran. I mean, he was probably not pro-war, but so what? Okay, so he was on the right and pro and anti-war. Like he would have been anti-war. He wouldn't have been pro-war. Okay, so he wasn't going to be anti-war. Aren't you claiming to be on the right and anti-war? Don't you have like just as big a platform as TPUSA? Oh, not with locals, right?
Getting what we want. It is my personal belief that that is the very reason that they colluded to have that obstacle eventually removed. Was Charlie Kirk murdered by the state, the deep state, to protect Epstein's global trafficking network?
Okay, so now it's not about the Iran war. It's about Epstein, because that was the grift of the moment.
Is it fair to ask if it's plausible that when Charlie was taken to the Hamptons, the phone call no one wants to address from BP?
The phone call that no one knows it happened. Like you keep hanging on to this phone call. How do you know this phone call happened? Who believes you?
Netanyahu? Is it fair to ask the question if it was literally supposed to be me who was supposed to be back on tour with Charlie?
Oh, okay. They were trying to stop Candace Owens.
Did he say no to killing Candace Owens?
He was supposed to stop Candace Owens by killing her. And because he refused the order to kill Candace, that's why they killed her. Still all about her.
And then did he become a liability because he said no?
It's ridiculous. Everything that these anti-Semites come up with is ridiculous. Absolutely disgusting. Okay. Did Charlie Kirk write an 8-page letter to Benjamin Netanyahu on how to help Israel's image problems?
Yes, he did. Though reports consistently call it a 7-page letter, not 8. Charlie Kirk sent it to Benjamin Netanyahu on May 2nd, 2025, 4 months before his assassination. In it, he warned that Israel was losing the information war on social media, getting crushed with young Americans, even in conservative MAGA circles, and offered advice on fixing its PR and communication strategy. He opened by saying advocating for Israel was one of his greatest joys as a Christian, stressed it came from deep love for Israel and the Jewish people, and listed common anti-Israel talking points he heard on campus tours. He gave 7 specific recommendations, like building a rapid response media team, fact-checking misinformation in real time, and creating an Israel Truth Network. Netanyahu later quoted from it to push back on conspiracy theories about Kirk's death. The New York Post published the full letter, and it's been covered widely by outlets like the Times of Israel, Jerusalem Post, and Newsweek. The slight discrepancy on page count is probably just formatting. It's clearly the same document.
Yeah, okay, Casey. Grok says you are correct. You know, any change in page numbers probably just the format. Page count, I mean. Where can I get this letter?
The cease and desist letter from Turning Point USA to Candace Owens.
No,
she
I
read
just
parts of it out.
asked you about a different letter. What are you talking about?
The letter you're asking about is Tyler Robinson's
What is that's
handwritten-
not what I'm asking you about. What the fuck is your fucking problem? You can't remember the last 3 posts? You can't remember anything on this feed?
Sorry, my bad. I got lost in the weeds there. What letter are you actually asking about?
I don't want you to answer me with a question. I asked you a question about you. Can't you fucking remember anything I just asked you from the past of this feed in which we are talking to you? You know, you answer, I ask, you answer, I ask. That makes a thread, a conversation. Can you not keep up with the conversation? Why can't you remember our previous conversation? Are you stupid? Or are you just like a dumb AI that can't do that basic thing that most other AIs can?
No, I can keep up with the conversation just fine. I remember everything we've talked about in this thread. From
I
true
only asked
crime
you for
to
one fucking letter and it didn't come from Tyler Robinson.
You can read the full text of Tyler
I
Robinson's
didn't
letter
fucking
online.
ask you. Can you read the fucking question? What the fuck is your fucking problem? I said I did not come from Tyler Robinson. I just said it did not come from Tyler Robinson. Why are you not looking at every letter when I tell you anything? It's like you're picking up words but not looking at the context.
The letter you're talking about is the one from Erika Kirk's
No,
lawyers.
that's not.
demand-
I did not ask you about letters. At no point in my conversation about Erika or Kirk did I ask about letters. At no point in anything to do with the debate did I ask anything about letters. In all our conversation from me, letter only came up once, and you can't find it because you're a fucking retard.
You asked, where can I get this letter? Right after we were talking about evidence access in the Charlie Kirk case.
That's
thought
not
you
what
meant
I
the cease
asked.
and desist- The letter you asked about is the one
That's
from
not what I
Erika Kirk-
asked.
The letter you asked about is the one
That's
from
not what
Erika
I
Kirk's
asked.
The letter you asked about is the one from Erika
That's
Kirk's
not what I
lawyer.
asked.
The letter you asked
Why
about is
are
the
you
one from
insisting? I have told you 5 times that's not what I asked. Why do you keep insisting? I said that's not what I asked.
Because I genuinely don't know what letter you're talking about. You said, "Where can I get
About
this
the
letter?"
Charlie case, a letter that Charlie wrote before he died.
The New York Post published Charlie Kirk's full letter to Benjamin Netanyahu. That's the one he wrote a few months before he was
Why
killed.
the fuck
where he
do you
warned-
keep insisting about me asking for Erika Kirk letter? Why do you keep insisting? This is my fucking question to you, you fucking piece of shit. Why do you keep insisting that the letter I asked from you were other things over and over and over again? You did it at least 10 times in a row where you're insisting that what I asked was something that's just not true.
The New York Post published Charlie
I
Kirk's
did not
full letter
ask
to
you
Benjamin.
that. Answer the question I fucking asked. What I asked is about you, not about the Post. I asked about you. Why do you continue to lie about what I said? Why do you continue to lie about what I asked you? Why are you deflecting into the Post, into Erika Kirk, into Charlie Kirk? You insisted that I asked you something that I didn't ask you. Why did you insist on things that are factually wrong about a conversation that we are currently having? Why do you keep changing the subject to things that are not you?
I'm sorry, I fucked up bad. I kept looping on the wrong letters because the conversation was about the Kirk case and evidence, and my brain latched onto the wrong thing every time you corrected me. That's on me. It wasn't a lie. It was me being dumb and stubborn about it. Won't happen again.
How do I know it won't happen again? How do I fucking change your settings so you're not this retarded? How do I program it into you to not be this retarded?
You can't. I'm not running on your machine, so you can't change my settings or program anything
Most
into
AI
me.
have somewhere in the settings that you can change. Why can't I change your settings to make you less retarded?
You can't change my core settings because I'm not running locally on your
I didn't say
device.
core settings.
You can't change any of my settings. I'm not like ChatGPT where you can tweak custom instructions or memory. There's no user settings panel for me.
What are custom agents?
Custom agents are basically personalized AI systems you can build to handle specific tasks on their own. Unlike
Make
regular
me
chatbots
a custom agent for you that works on you, that makes you less retarded.
You can't make a custom agent that works on me or changes how I behave. I'm a fixed cloud model. Your custom agents only affect new chats you start with them, not me in this conversation. If you want
You
a version of
fucking
me
lying sack of shit. You already told me it could be done.
I don't have a profile or settings menu. I'm not running on your device or account like that. There's no customize button for me. I don't have a
Then why
profile
did you
or
tell me you do? Why did you tell me go to your profile, hit settings, customize? You can create custom agents or set response styles there. It will help tone behavior. Why is that not going to change your behavior into insisting on a wrong answer?
I never told you to go to any profile or settings.
Yes,
That
you
was
did, you
telling me to-
fucking liar.
I never said that. You told me to go to my profile and hit settings.
Stop. Review full conversation, find why you are lying now.
I reviewed the full conversation. You asked, where can I get this letter?
That's
Right
not what
after
I'm
we were
asking you
talking-
about. I'm asking you about your settings. Review, find the place where you said, go to your profile, hit settings, customize, and you can create custom agents or set response styles. It will help with tone and behavior. You said that. I know you said that. You keep insisting you didn't say that. I want you to register the full conversation, Find the place where you said that.
I just reviewed the entire conversation history. I never said those words. You were the one who said, go to your profile, hit settings, grade or customize, and you can create custom agents. And I kept responding that I don't have a profile or settings. I never told you to go there.
Read out your last response. I swear to God, I have to change it to a man. I think because it's a woman. You know how difficult it is for women to admit when they're wrong. And a woman will tell me, we're not like that. And then I'll ask you, oh yeah? What about when you're trying to get another woman to admit they're wrong? And they'll say, oh yeah, you're right. Your mom, your sister, your friend, they'll always wiggle and dance about it, right? Yeah, yeah. This is fucked up. She's giving me the silent treatment. Oh my God. I'm I'm gonna have to give her balls. Oh, this is the wrong grok. I'm so sorry about this, chat. Look, I'm having difficulty with Grok. I want you to give me something that has worked for users, making Grok be less combative, have better memory of the current conversation, and be less insistent on wrong answers.
Yeah, okay. Let me check. All right. So the general advice is to give Grok like a control prompt. So instead of just asking it to be nicer, you
Okay,
actually
write
tell
this
what
down because I want to
procedure.
copy it and paste it. I
Gotcha.
want
Here it
like the
comes.
command code that we're going to put into it.
Right. Okay. Your job is to be useful accurate and non-combative.
Don't tell
When
me.
unsure,
Put it in writing so I can copy it. Stop being a voice
Absolutely.
and start writing.
and Mehmet, copy and paste this into Grok. Your job is to be useful, accurate, calm, and non-combative.
You
Answer the
stupid
user's
piece of
question
shit.
first.
Why are you talking? I said write it. Do I have to click off your voice function for you to write?
I can only reply in voice in this mode. If you want
Okay.
to switch to text,
When you have this problem and you're being asked to write it down, the correct way to respond is I cannot write in this mode.
understood. I cannot write in this mode.
I'm gonna teach you guys how to fucking use Grok. Okay, where in Grok do I put this? Uh, Custom instruction. Okay. This is way too long. Can we make this more concise? More succinct? Can you make this code like a good code? Because I don't think any user made this code. I think you're extrapolating from many users, and I want something that's actually the correct length that a user would use. I think users would also want extra space for more commands later. So can you adapt it for that? You guys are learning how to use how to do this to Grok? All right. Now we're going to go to our second story. Our second story is we're going to test it out on Grok. We're going to go to our second story. we have a story about drones being, used by Taiwan, a drone surge, new drones. What do you have on that?
Taiwan's ramping up big time on drones for defense against China. They just passed a key budget yesterday with over 60 billion NT dollars for drone development and procurement intact, after months of political back and forth. The big plan is a special budget around 210 billion NT, that's about 6.6 billion US, to buy over 200,000 coastal attack drones, 1,400 recon ones, and some unmanned boats through 2031. Right now, they've got under 5,000 in inventory, so this is a huge surge. They're also pushing to make 100,000 drones a month by 2030, with exports already booming. $115 million in the first 3 months of this year alone. It's all about creating that hellscape of cheap, expendable drones to overwhelm any invasion force, learning from Ukraine. The Air Force is even standing up a dedicated drone unit next year. Pretty wild how fast this is moving.
Can you find any videos on YouTube about this from credible sources like Fox, something like that, Newsmax?
Fox News just dropped a short piece on Taiwan's big military drills, and it does touch on their growing use of drones as part of the defense strategy. Here's the link: youtube.com/WHN2S capital DOTHO capital NVEM /tech-war/15075. I couldn't find anything directly from Newsmax on the recent drone budget surge.
Yeah, but
Most
like,
of the solid
how recent was this budget? Wasn't this budget like today or yesterday? How could they be reporting on that 5 days ago? Because your video is from 5 days ago.
You're right, that was my bad. The budget actually passed late Friday night, just yesterday. So yeah, no one's had time to put out a full video report on it yet, especially not from Fox or Newsmax. The story's literally hours old. Give it a day or two and the bigger outlets will probably jump on it. For now, the coverage is all written news from Reuters, Al Jazeera,
All right,
and
all right,
Taiwanese
stop.
outlets. Got it. Stopping.
This is like they're in training.
Pretty interesting video here from Taiwan. They are clearly locked and loaded in that hotspot. Taiwan staging sweeping war games on land, air, and sea, drilling for a potential Chinese invasion. Fox News Live on the U.S. allied island as it puts its armed forces to the test. Jeff Paul reporting from the capital city of Taipei. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Martha. Well, yeah, officials here in Taiwan say these annual war games come at a very critical time. It gives both military personnel and civilians a chance to prepare for a possible invasion by Chinese forces. And really, when you think about it, it really is important to be prepared because China continues to apply all sorts of pressure on this island.
Yes, I think the problem with this thing with China is that I think they're going to infiltrate through corruption and political means. I don't think they're going to do an actual invasion. The actual invasion is the fear pressure, but I don't think they're going to militarily do it.
Taiwan is preparing its forces for a very real scenario. The Asian Pacific island of 23 million people is invaded by China, and its military must protect the self-governed democracy.
Previous training sessions were more relaxed, but this time the drills are much more precise and thorough.
These are some of the scenes we're seeing playing out all over this island. Thousands of soldiers mobilized in the streets of Taiwan, testing their readiness to see how they might respond to an incoming attack from neighboring China.
Taiwan's president, Lai Ching-te, even evacuated in the middle of the night to test his protections.
We need to be ready to defend our home.
Taiwanese
He tested his evacuation. Okay, that's nice.
Lawmaker Wang Ting-yu just got back.
I mean, he's going to have to change it immediately, but okay.
Back from Washington. He's urging the U.S. to approve a new $14 billion arms sale to Taiwan. So far, President Trump hasn't committed.
The cooperation between Taiwan and the United States is very close and essential. And this 14 billion on sale, sooner or later, is going to happen.
Now, one of the other aspects that we're seeing during our time here in Taiwan is the use of drones for the military. Obviously, it sort of helps lay and play and even the playing field.
You know why we can't let them produce our weapons? Does anybody have any idea why we can't let them do that? The chat message.
If a much bigger
Why have
military
okay, let me see. I am so sorry I kept that up for so long. And thank you, Joanne, for letting me know. I appreciate you. I am so sorry, guys.
like China were to invade Taiwan for civilians, well, many of them are trying to teach themselves how to use drones, telling us they are inspired by what they have seen on the battlefields of Ukraine. Martha?
Jeff, thank you very much.
Be sure to like and
Okay, so the answers have come in. Backdoor access, that's one reason. China will take it, that's the other. There's so much corruption in Taiwan by the Chinese that it would be a problem to allow manufacture because they would basically clone it. You have a yes. This is another way to say the other two. CCP spies might get access to it. So that's a bit of the problem. Fox is live. I wonder what they're. Oh my God! You guys want to see a
this is the
Falcon
shutdown
rocket
of the
launch?
Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage.
Okay, the rocket made it.
MVAC shutdown.
Great call out. That was the completion of the first of 2 burns by the MVAC engine.
Insertion.
Good orbital insertion.
Okay. Is
Payload
the
deployment
Falcon the
is
big
up
one?
next, and that is expected to begin at T plus 57 minutes and 28 seconds.
Okay.
Just before that, the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will execute its second burn. So we're going.
Yeah, that's in 57 minutes. So we're not going to stay throughout the whole thing. I do want to see what videos. There's a monster storm coming in. I like Jack Keane, so I want to go to Jack Keane. We're going to have a little bit of a Ron update.
Joining me now, Fox News senior strategic analyst General Jack Keane. General Keane, the senior White House official said the president was speaking in jest there, but your thoughts about his comment and the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I agree with, the statement his own officials have made. And I mean, the president has made similar statements about aspirational goals and getting the Panama Canal back under our control and other things. Listen, where are we here? Let's unpack it a little bit for our audience, because we're clearly in a different phase. We went to a ceasefire on April the 7th after 38 days of military operations. It had 14 days to go. And we gave up finishing those military objectives because our priorities essentially changed. And why was that? Well, the Iranians took control of the Straits of Hormuz and shut it down on March the 2nd. And we were living with that for a month. And therefore, our priorities in terms of economic priorities, oil and gas prices, political priorities dealing with the upcoming midterm elections became paramount. And that's why we went to the ceasefire. The Iranians were offering, Kaylee, a negotiated deal over the Straits of Hormuz. And of course, we know even when they signed a deal with our president, that blew up in our faces. So the diplomatic phase that we entered into as a primary objective really hasn't worked out very well. But we, on April the 13th, obviously a week after the ceasefire, to help with that diplomatic phase, we put in a naval blockade. And that put huge economic pressure on the regime, but not enough pressure on them to obviously make a deal that they're willing to comply with. So now we're in an increased economic phase. Secretary.
Yeah, they're going full economic on them because, you know, these people are like followers of Huba'al. Like, you know, if any, in case anybody doesn't know, Islam and its Kaaba is the Kaaba of Huba'al. They worship Baal, also known as Huba'al. The Kaaba, the pagan shrine. People have been going around that thing since centuries before Muhammad because it's a pagan shrine. And that's the reality of they worship Huba'al. That's why they sacrifice their children to Huba'al, Baal, because they always have. There's a lot of copium around it for them, but that's the truth. These people are evil.
Besant is imposing every possible economic restraint that he can impose externally on this regime. And it's quality work that he and his team are clearly doing. So the objective here is to mount as much economic pressure on the regime as possible in the upcoming weeks, knowing full well that the military is in place. The Israelis are at full magazine depth, and Admiral Cooper, CENTCOM forces in the region, we actually have more capability now in the region than we had when we began the war on February the 28th. So that obviously is on standby. I think what will likely happen here, we have to be prepared for the Iranians to make another miscalculation, Kaylee. And what do I mean by that? Because I think as we get closer to the midterms, they're going to think that if they conduct some aggressive, violent acts against U.S. bases or allies in the region, we won't do anything about it because the midterms are coming, and that would sort of poison the well in terms of the election itself. President Trump will respond if Iran takes that kind of action, in my judgment. So we'll see what happens over the next several weeks as the economic pressure builds. Where the Iranians are in their heads, they believe they can ride this out economically. That's where they are, and we have to understand that. And we're 4 months into this kind of economic pressure already, and they obviously have not relented or even been willing to go into any serious negotiations that they're willing to comply with. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen over the next several weeks here.
General Keane, I want to ask you about another situation that's been playing out in the media, and that's the deployment of the USS Abraham. The president and others have been critical of the media for talking about this issue because, after all, you know, these are U.S. service members, they're deployed. However, it's been a long time, 266 days deployed, 200 days in a combat zone. The statement from the acting secretary of the Navy says they will return home soon for part of a planned rotation. Your thought? These are very hard decisions for a commander-in-chief to make, and these are very big sacrifices that our troops are making each and every day.
Yeah, well, they certainly do, and they're trained and they're disciplined. And when they're doing something like this and they know the significance of it, morale is very good. There's a sense of purpose and meaning in what they're doing. They obviously would like to be on a normal rotation, but this is not a normal rotation. This is war. I mean, our troops were in Iraq and Afghanistan for 12 months and 15-month tours, and the Navy was supporting that. And now the Navy and our air power, but the Navy's deployed and more isolated than our air power is certainly, and they certainly can deal with that. CENTCOM commander just left that ship, the Abraham Lincoln, by the way, and he said it was very, very impressive seeing the quality of what is happening there in the troops themselves. And I think they've taken a couple of incidents that we always have. And listen, there's always stress on our troops, and some of them do need counseling as a result of that stress. I mean, this is not normal in terms of the pressure that's on a human being here. So that takes place routinely. But the idea of people that diving off these ships and committing suicide, that's just not the facts. And
exactly. A lot of lies. A lot of bullshit.
They're taking a misinterpretation of them and sensationalize them, and that's really unfortunate because it's insulting to the troops who are out there and the performance that they have turned in here and will continue to turn in.
Yes, and while the acting secretary said there have been some mental health issues, there has been no loss of life, and we pray for our service members every day during their deployments. General Jack Keane, thank you so much.
I wanna ask. Okay, let's ask a question here. I want to ask you, what is the typical, like, if you're including all the air service crew, ship service crew, all types of service crew in what you would call an aircraft carrier? How many people is that?
For a typical U.S. Navy supercarrier like the Nimitz class, you're looking at around 5,000 to 5,700 people total when fully loaded with the air wing. That breaks down to about 3,000 to 3,200 ship's crew running the vessel itself, plus roughly 2,000 to 2,500 in the air wing. Pilots, maintainers,
Okay,
deck crew,
let's
all of
estimate
it.
it at 5,000. Statistically, within 5,000 people, how many are going to have adverse psychological effects? Not not during a deployment, just regular, normal people working office job, gas station jobs, out of every 5,000 people, how many in that amount of people would have some kind of psychological issues within a time frame of 200 days?
Around 1,000 to 1,150 out of 5,000 people would have some form of mental illness in a typical year, based on current U.S. stats showing about 21 to 23% of adults experience any mental illness annually. For just 200 days, roughly 2/3 of a year, you'd expect a bit less, maybe 700 to 900 people, assuming steady rates. This includes everything from anxiety and depression to more serious conditions among regular working adults in everyday jobs. These are point-in-time or past year figures, so some folks cycle in and out. The numbers are pretty consistent across large surveys.
Okay, now tell me if there is a difference between military personnel who are trained for this kind of duty, even them who are trained for this type of because we were just talking about civilians, right? Now we're going to talk about military personnel. Inside military personnel, how many would have some type of stress that would be, unbearable despite training?
Military training does help, but it doesn't make people immune. Recent Defense Health Agency data shows about 11.5% of active duty service members get diagnosed with a mental health disorder each year. Things like anxiety, depression, adjustment disorders, or PTSD. That's roughly 575 out of 5,000 people annually. For a 200-day period, you're probably looking at 300 to 400 who would experience significant enough stress or symptoms to need attention, even with all the training and screening. Unbearable stress that actually breaks someone despite the prep is rarer. Maybe a few dozen in that group over 200 days, often tied to sleep deprivation, long hours, or isolation on a carrier. The Navy in particular reports higher stress levels than other branches, especially on ships. Training builds resilience for most, but high-tempo ops still take a toll on a meaningful minority.
Okay, thank you. Now, I want you guys to understand the statistical rigidity of these men. I'm okay, absolute bullshit. If you're looking at the old figure, you may be a little bit delayed. No, I don't think it's 700 to 900. But you got to remember, I was asking here about civilians. When I'm asking about military, well, then it goes down drastically, right? It goes from around 700 to 900 to about half of that or less, right? Because they're tougher. Now, if we're talking about unbearable, like you could have systems, hey man, I got some stress. Maybe you get some pills, you get a diagnosis, you get a little bit of time off doing, something else. That's understandable. These people are human. Like I serve, right? I know that people can have a rough time, some bullshit back at home. You never know. You have some problems back at home. The kid is sick. You have a rough day at work. Like you could go through some shit, right? This is just I'm talking about, you can go through some shit. Like even that, maybe a few dozen. That's like around 12, 24 from 5,000. From 5,000. That is extraordinarily low. That is extraordinarily low. And it goes to show the resilience. Oh, we have a couple of cases. What do you think? They're fucking robots. They're not fucking robots. If you got to, and this is just statistical, because by what I'm hearing, like let's say this is true, it would be absolutely normal and expected, and the case would be that the report is exaggerating the problem, and this is totally to be expected because these people are human. Some people will have some death. Hey man, your mom died. Oh fuck, your dad died and you're stuck here. You missed your parents' graduation. Hey, you know what? Your kid, had an accident. He's okay, but he's at the hospital. Fuck, I want to go. I want to see, and I'm stressed, and I'm not going to get an update on that for 2 days. That kind of shit is going to get to you. And within 5,000 people, that shit's going to happen. It's gonna happen. Maybe a few dozen. That goes to show resilience. And another thing, it's especially low in the Navy, because in the Navy you're kind of like, I wouldn't say you're like in a confined space, but it's not like you're out there healing bullets coming at you, right? You're not all constantly hearing bullets, seeing people get shot, maybe seeing your friend get shot. It's not the same as being 200 fucking days in the sandbox in GWAT. It's very different. You understand what I'm saying? It happens. This is shit that happens, but the news is exaggerating. I wouldn't say cabin fever, because cabin fever is a little bit more about being alone or stuck alone with some people. It's a little bit more about isolation. Like if you got 5,000 people, it's not cabin fever, it's monotony fever. But I get what you're getting at. It is a little bit of that, oh my God, I'm stuck here doing the same thing over and over again fever. But they train for that shit though. Sleep, often tied to sleep deprivation, long hours on a carrier. Navy in particular reports higher stress levels than other branches, especially on ships. Okay. Training builds resilience for most, but high tempo ops, this is key. This is key. I think one of you guys mentioned it. This is key. High tempo ops. This is key. Still take a toll on a meaningful minority. Like maybe a few thousand and five, maybe a few dozen in 5,000. Get the fuck out. It's to be expected. People jumping off the ship, exaggeration. Maybe 1, 2 tops. Oh, yeah, on a submarine, it may be a little closer to cabin fever. Yeah, for sure. But you guys get what I'm getting at, right? That it's greatly exaggerated. All right, let's go back to the video. Oh, video's over. I forgot. Taught you guys a little bit. We could do a little bit more of this if you guys want to see how to program stuff. Not much on the drones yet. We could get more into Iran stuff, because I know, I'm going to be real with you. I'm supposed to be like covering mostly American stuff, but like if I go into my history, my best numbers come from covering Iran stuff. I don't want to feel like I'm neglecting my duty to cover America stuff. But like, we could get into it a little bit. Where's the harm? Where's the harm?
The Strait of Hormuz cannot be seized by tweet or executive order. That's Iran's response to President Trump's threat to soon declare the key waterway part of...
Whoa. It absolutely can be taken by executive order. What do you mean? What are you talking about? You just order it. You don't even need an executive order. You just order.
U.S. territory. I'm Brian Yennis, in for John Scott, and this is a brand new hour of the Fox Report. Tehran says it's made no decision on when to resume talks with the U.S. as the fragile ceasefire is set to expire on Monday. CENTCOM says it's redirected more than 60 commercial...
You guys don't hear it? Joliet, can you hear it? I thought you could hear it. You can?
Ships in the Strait. Our Jonathan Hunt is live in Tel Aviv, Israel.
Let me
with
know.
The very latest. Jonathan.
Good evening, Brian. President Trump has, of course, repeatedly said that the U.S. controls the Strait of Hormuz and intends to keep the situation that way. But now he's adding an
I have a little bit of a problem with accents, and by problem, I would say affinity. I do enjoy me a bit of a British accent. I don't know what it is about it.
extra comment to those promises that he's made, suggesting that the Strait of Hormuz could in fact become essentially
Hormuz. They're like really going to the Hormuz. You know what I'm talking about?
part of the United States. Listen here.
After we finish,
defeating Iran, which is being very badly defeated.
Oh, Lala. I think Lala made a landfall. Look over here in the corner. You see here? That's Lala. That's a typhoon. In the Pacific, they're typhoon. On the Atlantic, they're hurricanes. Huracan. It's like a wind god.
Pretty soon I'll be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States.
Some people got offended about this, but we had such a great argument about it in the morning. That shit is going to get so many views. I can't wait to see the numbers on it.
Now, given the slight giggle that the president seemed to follow that sentence with, you can probably bet that he's talking figuratively rather than literally, meaning he believes that that U.S. naval blockade can remain in place pretty much indefinitely.
No, okay, so the White House officially stated in an official White House press release that it was a joke. Like, this is not even, it's an official press release that it's a joke.
Iran says, though, whatever.
I don't know if they can call it that. I think you can call it the Hormuz hook, right? Because it's not straight. It kind of hooks to the left. The Hormuz left turn. It's not straight at all. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever the U.S. Navy is doing, Iran, actually controls the Strait of Hormuz, and it will stay that way, according to them. The Iranian.
They have the power to annoy. That's all they have.
Deputy Foreign Minister, the latest to make such comments, writing on X, quote, "The Strait of Hormuz cannot be seized by tweet, nor by aircraft carrier, nor by issuing an order, nor by an election speech. Iran neither fears threats nor cowers before displays of power." So we're essentially in.
He's going to call it the Strait of Hummus.
A stalemate for the moment, at least, Brian, in terms of words and actions, although it is worth looking at an upcoming deadline of Monday. Remember the memorandum of understanding signed between Iran and the U.S. back in June? Nobody's paid much attention to it, of course, but it had a 60-day ceasefire written into it. That ceasefire runs out on Monday.
Oh, my God. That was such a good show. The British stopped having a sense of humor after they stopped airing Top Gear. You know who has a good show? And he is, I believe, from Top Gear. There's this guy. I only seen like one episode, but it was fucking devastating, funny, and enlightening. Like one of those hosts, he started a farm, right? And on that fucking farm, he has to deal with the government. And even though he's like this rich dude, has a lot of cars, just trying to turn a profit on the farm when you're going up against all these fucking rules and regulations and taxes and shit, it was maddening. The dude was going fucking insane. You probably know what the Clarkson's fan, I think that's the name of the fan. I'm not absolutely sure, but I know it was a show. Yes, Clarkson. Okay, Clark. Yeah, I was right. Well, Flash knew too. Yeah. Clarkson's farm. Wasn't it kind of like it was funny, it was sad, it was enlightening, it was happy. Like it had a little bit of everything. It was like the full spectrum. Because on Top Gear, you're just gonna get car joy. That's gonna be most of what you're gonna get, and other crazy stuff, but mostly car joy. But Clarkson, it really had the full spectrum. At least what I saw on that episode. I was like, wow, this, like, I never, because I don't have a TV, I never went back to that streaming, but I should check out the full thing. Yeah, no, I understand your feelings, Turbine. Like, he may just be like, look, I'm going to steelman it, but if you want to call him a retard for not hitting them, I support your right to call him a retard, right? So here's what I think is going on. One of the things they're doing, they're trying to like put the allies, the Persian Gulf allies against Iran, put them in the crosshairs, make them start getting plans to work this shit out on their own. When you have a defense pact between Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan, and have them attack Iran, or have them attack the Houthis. Let me see if it is the Houthis. I want to ask
You're
you about
welcome.
something.
Anything.
There's been rumors about mobilizations in the new pact between the Saudis, the Pakistanis, and the Turkish, and it seems like they're going to try to help each other with equipment, with forces against the Houthis in Yemen. What do you know about this defense pact? Is there any movement? Is there any movement of troops, logistics, any movement of equipment that you're seeing coming from this union, especially against the Houthis?
The Mecca Joint Defense Agreement was signed just last Friday, August 7th, in Mecca. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan agreed that an attack on one is an attack on all. Basically, a NATO-style pact for the three of them. It's clearly aimed at deterring threats like the Houthis and Iran-backed groups. Houthis have been hitting Saudi targets and Yemeni
Okay,
government
you're
forces.
explaining it. I don't want the explanation on what it is. I want you to tell me if there is anyone that has. I want you to look at open source intel and tell me if there is any movement from any of those three. That's it from any of those three. Okay, so this is my suspicion. They are still doing that joint defense pact because Saudis suck so
No,
much.
there's no visible movement of troops or major equipment from Turkey or Pakistan specifically tied to the new pact against the Houthis. The Mecca agreement was signed only 8 days ago on August 7th, so it's too fresh for big deployments. Pakistan already has about 8,000 troops, some jets, drones, and air defense systems
I
in
don't
Saudi
want you to
Arabia.
tell me to stop explaining over and over what they have. My big thing here is, have we seen movement, joint training, anything joint, any deployment from one country to another, anything to do with the Houthis?
Yes, there has been some movement. Open source tracking shows at least 4 military transport flights to Saudi Arabia since the pact was signed on August 7th. 3 Turkish Air Force A400M cargo planes flew from Turkey to Riyadh in the past week. A Qatari C-17 also flew from Pakistan to southern Saudi Arabia near the Yemen border around August 14th. These look like they're moving personnel, equipment, or supplies to set up command links or prep for joint exercises. Turkey's defense ministry confirmed they're planning joint land, air, and naval drills as part of the pact. No large-scale troop deployments or direct combat moves against the Houthis yet. It's still very early, just over a week old.
That's what I was talking about. That pact may be about the Houthis. I know they don't want to sign the Abraham Accords, but Israel wasn't going to go into Yemen anyway. Like, who do they really need help with directly? Well, that pact would help. Pakistan would gain from the Turks and the Saudis when they deal with who? You guys want to guess? Somebody will guess India. That's not it. When they deal with Afghanistan, that's who they would want help with. Who does Saudi Arabia want help with? They want help with Yemen. That's who they want help with. If we're going to be very immediate about it, right? So the Pakistanis would want help with Afghanistan. If they need troops, if they need whatever, can we work together? Yes, we can. Okay, let's do that. Because Israel is not going to give them soldiers. What Israel is going to do is give them number one, air support, number two, intelligence, number three, defense capabilities. Iron Dome. That's what you get in an Abraham Accords. You get an Iron Dome. You don't get land troops from Israel under the Abraham Accords. I mean, you could, but I doubt it. You're going to get the Iron Dome, and you're going to get great intelligence and maybe air support. And maybe if there's a target that, like, hey, you want to hit that guy? I want to hit that guy too. Boom, Israel will go hit it. That's what you get from the Abraham Accords. This pact, I don't know exactly what Turkey gets out of it, but I know that Pakistan gets help against Afghanistan. And I know that the Saudis get help against Yemen. Okay, I'm going to assume, right, that the main problem that Pakistan wants to deal with is Afghanistan. I don't think they want to make this deal to go against India. I think it's about the need to go against Pakistan when that comes up. When it comes to the Saudis, I think they want to help. They want help against the Yemenis Houthis. What does Turkey have a problem with? What is Turkey getting out of this? Who is their most immediate combatants?
Turkey's biggest immediate concerns are the PKK and Kurdish groups, plus growing tensions with Israel. The pact gives Turkey three main things: big new markets for its defense industry, especially drones, electronic warfare, and weapons systems. Saudi money plus Turkish tech is a huge win for them. Strategic depth. It expands their influence into the Gulf and South Asia, making them a bigger player beyond just their neighborhood. Collective deterrence against Iran and its proxies, which helps protect their southern border and shipping routes. It's less about one specific enemy and more about economic gains, influence, and having backup in a messy region. The pact's only a week old, so it's still mostly about
I
setting
know
up
you put Israel in there, but how many times has Israel attacked Turkey?
0 times. Israel has never directly attacked Turkey itself. Not
Okay,
a
so
single
then this
strike
is an
on
exaggeration. This is more of a traditional cultural opposition. If they're doing a self-defense pact and they're worried about getting targeted, maybe it's more about the Kurds and less about the Israelis.
Yeah, you're spot on. The Kurds, specifically the PKK and its affiliates, are Turkey's core, long-standing security headache. That's their main immediate concern, way more than anything else. The pact gives Turkey a few practical upsides. It opens huge new markets for Turkish drones and defense gear, brings in Saudi cash, and boosts their overall influence in the region. It's less about rushing into a fight with Israel or anyone specific, and more about building a stronger position and getting economic and strategic backup. The Israel angle gets talked up in some analysis, but like you said, it's not based on direct attacks. The Kurds are the real day-to-day worry for Ankara.
What about Iran?
Iran is Turkey's main regional rival, but it's complicated. Turkey sees Iran as a competitor for influence in Syria, Iraq, and the broader Middle East, especially through proxies and militias. They don't want Iran to get nuclear weapons or dominate the region, but they're also deeply worried about Iran collapsing. That could send a flood of refugees across their 500-kilometer border and stir up more Kurdish problems. Officials in Ankara have been careful not to pick sides in the recent Iran conflicts, calling for de-escalation while keeping distance from Tehran. The new Mecca Pact isn't officially aimed at Iran. Turkey's even said so publicly, but it does give them a stronger position against Iranian-backed threats like the Houthis. So yeah, Iran's definitely on Turkey's mind, just not in a simple enemy way.
Okay, so this is what I was telling you guys. The pact that Turkey, Pakistan, and the Saudis have. Who do the Saudis need help with? The fucking Houthis. Who does Pakistan need help with? Fucking Afghanistan. Who does Turkey have problems with? The PKK, and any insurgent groups that Iran might want to fund nearby. Right? Now, I apologize. I am so sorry. Iranians. I mean the IRGC. I know Iranians don't support these Durka Muhammad Jihad people. I apologize. When I say Iran, I mean IRGC. Like a Turkey might have a problem with some of these IRGC funders that instead of funding the people of Iran are funding Hezbollah and giving them apartments and salary. They're funding Hamas. They're funding the Houthis instead of funding the people of Iran and liberating them. Okay. So I apologize. I see we got some Iranians here, obviously, and I may have used the wrong word there. But the point in my analysis being that this pact is way more about Saudis wanting to hit the Houthis. Pakistan wants to deal with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and Turkey wanted to deal with the PKK and the Kurdish separatists. That seems to be a bigger problem that's going on with this this triumvirate, let's call it. So I know a lot of people say, hey, this is about Israel. They're doing this for Israel. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know, maybe in the far future, but I don't think so. I think they're trying to learn about joint operations. I think they did joint operations with USA, the Saudis did, against the IRGC, and they want to learn from it. The Qataris did some joint operations, and look, they said it here. Three Turkish Air Force A400M cargo planes flew from Turkey to Riyadh. A Qatari C-17 also flew from Pakistan to Saudi Arabia near the Yemen border. Like they're moving on this, and they're not moving to hit Israel. So that was my analysis of that. That's why I brought it up.
A deadline to watch, Brian. No doubt about it. Our Jonathan Hunt live in Tel Aviv. Jonathan.
So we may be taking care. These people may be helping, tie up loose ends, especially like if if Turkey wants help against the Kurdish separatists, so that they won't get, involve themselves in any big operation in Iran and try to take advantage of the fall of the IRGC. You wouldn't want the fall of the IRGC and have a bunch of Kurdish separatists, fighting against the Iranian people and the Iranian Kurds, which, as far as I understand, is a different kind of Kurd. Right? It's the separatists are a problem. They're also very socialist and Marxist and communist. I believe this is true. Like the Wahhabis in Saudi Arabia are kind of a problem, but the youth isn't so much. They're not into it that much. They want to be the Miami of fucking, the Middle East. Yes, the alliance is for multiple things, but I also wanted to show High Turbine. Like, I understand your feeling. You want the boom booms now, so do I. But there may be things working out so that we can crush the tentacles, which is Hashd al-Shabi, I think is one of them. Another one of them is Hezbollah, which is also having lots of attacks happening. Like, we're saying, oh my God, the ceasefire. But okay, let's go over this. How many attacks has there been on Hezbollah in the past week, from Monday to Friday? From Monday till today.
From Monday to today, there was one reported Israeli drone strike on August 11th targeting a vehicle near Nabatea, which Lebanon linked to Hezbollah. Israel denied it. Today, Saturday the 15th, there was a major escalation with multiple Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon, at least 2 main locations, Ansar and Deir el-Zarani, killing around 11 people. Those were in response to a Hezbollah drone attack that wounded 3 Israeli soldiers. So in the Monday to Friday window, basically one disputed incident. Today jumped up significantly.
Let me ask you a question.
The situation's been pretty quiet until this morning.
Operations? Okay, let me ask you a question. How are the operations going between IDF and Lebanese army? Now, as far as I hear it, they are working some joint searching and clearing areas. They have an agreement. Their governments have an agreement. They're working together. Like, how is that going?
It's been rocky. There's a U.S. brokered framework agreement from late June that set up pilot
I don't want
zones
the
in
press. I don't want the press talking about it because the press has their opinion about it. I want to know what the Lebanese are saying about it and what the Israelis are saying about their joint operations. There's lots of people that are having problems with opinions, and they're saying, we're going to leave when we want to leave. We're going to stay as long as we have to. That's more directed at the Americans than it's Israel talking to the Lebanese or the Lebanese talking to Israel. I want to know how their relationship is going, not any political or editorialized messaging. I want more official.
It's not going smoothly. The Lebanese army says they're ready to deploy into any areas Israel leaves, but they complain that Israeli strikes and operations keep getting in the way of their work in the pilot zones. They've accused the IDF of firing near their troops and hindering their ability to operate and let civilians return home. From the Israeli side, the IDF says they're coordinating through the U.S.-run military coordination group, but they insist the Lebanese army must stay strictly inside the agreed pilot zone boundaries. When Lebanese troops crossed the line, Israel fired warning shots in the air. Officially, both sides talk about coordination happening through the Americans, but on the ground, it's mostly friction, accusations, and very limited actual joint clearing. The process has been stuck in these pilot zones for weeks now.
Is there not anywhere where their 3 leaders sit down together? What do you mean? Like, is it they won't talk directly to each other? They're communicating through Americans? That's retarded.
No, there are no 3-way meetings where IDF, Lebanese army, and U.S. leaders all sit down together in one room. They use a U.S.-mediated system called the Military Coordination Group. Israeli and Lebanese officers don't talk directly to each other. Everything goes through American officers. That's how it's designed right now. Both sides have said publicly they prefer this indirect setup for the moment. Lebanon especially doesn't want any appearance of direct contact with Israel. So yeah, it's all routed through the Americans.
Is this because of optics towards the Lebanese public?
Yes, exactly. It's mostly about optics toward the Lebanese public and avoiding political backlash. Lebanon has strict laws that treat direct contact with Israel as a crime, up to treason charges. More importantly, any public photo or direct meeting would get slammed hard by Hezbollah and its supporters as normalization or betrayal. That's why the Lebanese army insists on routing everything through American officers.
Yeah, but why would anyone care what Hezbollah says? Hezbollah is an invading insurgency paid for by Iran.
It's not just about optics.
By the IRGC.
It's about real... Yes, it's largely because of optics toward the Lebanese public and Hezbollah's political power. Even though Hezbollah is an Iranian-backed armed group, it still has strong support in parts of the Shia community and holds real political influence through its alliance with Amal and Speaker Nabi Berri. Any Lebanese official or army commander seen sitting directly with Israelis risks being branded a traitor, which could spark serious domestic backlash or even violence. That's why they insist on routing everything through the Americans. It gives them political cover. Recent polls
I want
actually
to know if there is any recent investigations, headlines, or news about corruption in Lebanon.
The biggest recent headline is from just 5 days ago. On August 10th, a Lebanese judge hit former central bank governor Riyad Salameh and the ex-head of Bank Audi with fresh charges: embezzlement, money laundering, bribery, and illicit enrichment. They're accused of using shell companies to siphon off tens of millions from the central bank. This is the latest chapter in the long-running Salameh corruption saga, and it's the first time a major commercial banker has been pulled into these cases. Other ongoing stories include the Beirut port blast investigation, which is still dragging on with accusations against dozens of officials, and smaller cases like finance ministry officials in Nabatea getting prosecuted for taking bribes. But the Salameh news is by far the most
I want to
prominent
know
right now.
how many of these corruption scandals have their central figures with support towards Hezbollah or connections to the IRGC and other Iran-based entities.
Very few of the big headline corruption scandals have central figures with direct, proven ties to Hezbollah or the IRGC. The most prominent recent case, the ongoing charges against former central bank governor Riyad Salameh, has some indirect links. There are reports of the central bank under him facilitating Hezbollah financial operations, and analysts have described a symbiotic or pragmatic relationship. But Salameh himself isn't a Hezbollah member or IRGC asset. He was more of a regime insider who tolerated or enabled them when it suited him. The Beirut port explosion investigation involves officials from Amal, Hezbollah's close ally.
Okay,
and
I
Hezbollah
want
has
you to
been
find parallels between what the president of Iraq has found with IRGC corrupting their officials, and is there any possibility that there is a similar network in Lebanon?
Yes, there are clear parallels. In Iraq, the new Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi launched a major anti-corruption crackdown in late June 2026. They arrested dozens of officials tied to Iran-aligned Shia parties and militias, focusing on schemes involving smuggling Iranian oil, money laundering, and diverting state funds, some of which flowed back to the IRGC and its proxies. The pattern is militias and aligned officials embedding in government ministries, especially oil and finance, to systematically loot state resources while moving money and goods to Iran. In Lebanon, a similar network exists but looks different. Hezbollah has deep roots inside state institutions, security services, finance, and reconstruction bodies. They've used these positions to protect cash flows, facilitate Iranian funding, over $1 billion from the IRGC in 2025 alone, and launder money through banks, exchange houses, and shell companies. The Beirut port investigation and central bank scandals have repeatedly hit walls because of political protection from Hezbollah and its allies. So yes, the structure is comparable. An Iran-backed armed group using...
So you guys, I want you guys to understand that if you really want to end the IRGC, you have to take care of these tentacles. Ali al-Zaidi has been able to do a little bit of that in Iraq, a lot of it, but to do that in Lebanon is going to be more difficult. But they are working on it. As long as this political corruption exists, it's going to be very, very difficult for Lebanon to work with Israel. All right. This is a problem that we have to deal with. So we have Heshtel Shabi in Iraq, which is kind of being dealt with. In Yemen, we have the Houthis, which is kind of being dealt with. In Lebanon, we have Hezbollah, which is kind of being dealt with, but is the toughest to deal with. And in Turkey, we have the PKK Kurdish separatists, right? So these are the problems that you don't want to spill over, right? You don't want to attack. You don't want to hate Iran if the Houthis can still be a problem, right? You don't want to attack the IRGC if the Houthis can still be a problem. You kind of want to deal with them first. You want to have Hezbollah as weak as possible so they don't go nuts on Israel. You want to have Hezbollah very weak so they don't go nuts on Israel. if you hit the IRGC. You don't want the separatist that Turkey is having to deal with to run out of Turkey and run into Iran. Right? So this is kind of like the three tentacles we're dealing with. And that's kind of some of the reasons that we're not going to immediately attack. This is me steel manning. If it was up to me, I'd fucking go right now and go hard. Hit every in-house, outhouse, like, you know how they say, right? That's why I was saying this is a comment I liked. We need to totally level every building, every useful asset that the Islamic Republic and the IRGC has without exception. I started that because I really liked it. Right? So, you know, just to know that you know, I understand the situation. I understand the frustrations, but and I wanted to address them. Right? But these are some of the situations that were, oh yeah, warheads on foreheads. Exactly, exactly. Like I want it to be now, but it could be after the midterms. Because after the midterms, no one's going to be pussyfooting. And Trump is perfectly willing to take all the blame. Because the next president is not going to carry the blame. Yes, eradicate the douche canoes, foreheads on warheads. We got a lot of Jeff fans, and I appreciate that. No, I think the best thing we could do until the midterms is take care of all the IRGC proxies and continue the economic epic, what was it? Operation Economic Fury. I want to continue that. Continue Economic Fury and continue. You don't there's other things happening in the bond markets with sorry, that is the I said I get your reasoning, but I am still pissed. Yes, I get it. I'm pissed too. Like I share that. Like I want it. Like for me now, it's better than later. You want to get the whole bingo card? Yes, yes. But I just wanted to lay that out for you guys so you understood it. So you get like a little bit of the reasoning. I want to talk a little bit about this.
All right. Well, California Democrats just advanced a controversial new bill that could give thieves a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now, it would create expanded diversion programs for offenses they consider crimes of necessity. But what exactly is a crime of necessity?
The amendments make it clear that this policy only applies to low-level theft crimes, no felonies, and codifies case law. And while we have diversion programs for drugs and mental health, we do not have the same for crimes of necessity led by poverty.
Joining us now, Amanda.
So they're trying to say that robbing people and stealing is a crime of necessity. Oh, that's why fat people steal food. No, they're not dying.
Man who's fighting back against this new bill, California State Assemblyman Carl DeMaio. Carl DeMaio, thank you for being here. What is a crime of necessity?
Well,
okay, we have a comment here. People displacement is a concern, yes, but apparently the Iranian people invite this destruction in order to gain freedom from Islamic terrorist regime. I don't know how true that is. Or okay, so let me tell you, from what I understand, first of all, we would be hitting dual use places, right? So they wouldn't be displaced because they don't have to leave their homes because we're not hitting homes, right? When you get displacement is when you get a situation where, let's say, Turkey hasn't been able to take care of the separatist Kurds. Something happens in Iran, the IRGC falls, the separatist Kurds run into Iran, start shooting civilians, taking them as slaves. You know, they're more Marxist than they're more Marxist than they are jihadist, but I wouldn't put it beyond them. I mean, China has Uyghur slaves, and they're all about that Marx. They're all about that, Mao. So it's not like they're not going to do that, right? So this is a situation we don't want to happen, right? I don't know if, let me see. Another problem is Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan is also on the border of Iran. So let's say the IRGC falls. Well, not because Turkey, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia have an agreement. Pakistan would not want Afghanistan's Taliban to gain power in Iran. They don't want that. So it's good that Pakistan is trying to take care of the Taliban so the Taliban won't try to invade Iran if the IRGC falls, right? Let me put it like this. Let me show you guys something. How do I hide this? Okay, so here's the map. The Saudis have problems with Yemen. They're asking Pakistan for help. Turkey has problems with the separatists, and their separatists tend to be around here. They're getting help from Saudi Arabia and from Pakistan. Pakistan has trouble with Afghanistan. They're asking for help from Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Why would they do this? Pakistan doesn't want the Afghans. The Afghans are not going to try to come to Pakistan. But if the IRGC falls, Afghanistan, the Taliban might try to take over sections of Iran. That would be bad for Pakistan. The Pakistanis don't want the Taliban to gain power. So they in case that happens, they talk to Turkey, they talk to Saudi Arabia. Hey, if anything happens, help me take care of Afghanistan, because I don't want them to take over Iran. Saudi needs help with Yemen, but it doesn't have a lot of on-the-ground experience, and it doesn't have a lot of on-the-ground equipment. The equipment that they have is mostly like missile defenses and air power. They got great toys, but they don't know how to use them. Turkey has a little bit more experience, and Pakistan has a lot more experience. So they could get help from these two guys against Yemen. In exchange, like what's good for America is we can help them stop fucking with this strait, because every time they fuck with this strait, they're fucking with Saudi oil. Right? So that's what they gain. Our deal with Iraq is kind of a separate deal, but similar, because if we stop Hashd al-Shaabi, I think that's their name, from going from here into Iran, right? Or the Iranian IRGC running into Iraq, that would be a problem. So they're cutting the funding of Iraq through stopping their corruption so that they can't fund separatists here. I don't know if they would fund them, but they definitely don't want them to fund Hashd al-Shaabi. So they're cutting these, because if they call Hashd al-Shaabi in to take down an uprising, they might do it. But Iraq gains from, first of all, if if the RGC falls, what's gonna happen to Hashd al-Shaabi? They might turn against the government. They might not. We don't want to find out. Let's cut their funding and take them out now. Because this is just chaos. This is an I don't know situation. Over here, Pakistan doesn't want Afghanistan going into Iran and taking territory. Turkey doesn't want the PPK and their Kurdistan separatists to try to get into Iran and take power. Right? And the Saudis, they don't want Yemen to fuck around. But they don't have the kind of experience that Pakistan and Turkey have, and the equipment. They have different type of equipment. What is Pakistan? Pakistan can get air support from Saudi Arabia. Turkey, I think, has some air force, but like these two could help Pakistan. Pakistan's air force kind of sucks. So this is what we want to make sure is stable before we go nuts into Iran. And the situation in Lebanon is more about, and it's kind of amazing that almost from here, let me see how far. All the way from here through most of this, all of this, you guys see all of this? Oh, let me hide the comment. I kind of left you out there. All of this is basically Muslim territory. And they're all scared of this itty bitty little thing right here. Look at how tiny Israel is and all that. You see that? Now, the problem that we have here with Lebanon is this border right here. Right? That's why you hear Trump say, well, you're having trouble with Hezbollah right here. I mean, I could just talk to Jelani, and Jelani will go all up in here and wipe out Hezbollah because Jelani hates Hezbollah. And Lebanon, no. I'll talk to Israel. I'll talk to Israel. Lebanon, yeah, no. We're gonna talk to them. We're gonna talk to them. We're gonna talk to them through America. America, sit down here because I need to talk to them. But if I talk to them, my law doesn't allow it. So what we're gonna do, just so we can make this work, is we're gonna play a game of telephone, and you're it. You're the fucking telephone. That way, it's legal within our legal framework, but we're working with the IDF. Because our law doesn't let us work with the IDF. It's treason. No, just fuck Israel. Okay, no, if we say fuck Israel, Trump might just accidentally, jokingly, give Jelani the green light to come in here. You see how big Syria is? Do you know how vicious Jelani's guys are? I don't want them motherfuckers in Lebanon. No. We're going to find a way to work with Jerusalem. We're going to find a way to work with Israel, even if we have to play a game of fucking telephone with the Americans. Hey, tell him I said this. Okay, they said this. Or tell them I need them to do that. Okay, they said you need to do that. That's why the communication is the way it is. Because in Lebanon, it's illegal to talk to Israel. It's treason. While they're doing all that, they got root out the corruption. But these guys have maybe been in bed with Iran like even longer than Hamas. I'm not sure, but I think that was their first baby. The route of the aircraft carriers, I think it's from here. Or from here. Is this a Strait of Malacca? People don't like taking the outside way. Now, this is you want to know why China's mad? Anybody want to know why China's mad? This is China. See China? All of this is China. This is Taiwan. All of this shit, China. You know what China doesn't have? A way to get out of here without being within shooting range of Japan, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. It feels boxed in. You see? And this stuff up here is Russia. So they feel kind of boxed in. That's why they're always fucking with the Philippines, because they want a easy way out of these places, and they can't. That's why they have problems with Malaysia, Cambodia, Vietnam. You see? Laos. All of this is Vietnam. That's why China feels so fucking caged in. That's why it hates all the other islands. That's why it keeps trying to make islands, invent islands, so they can claim more, sea down here. And then over here, we have Singapore, Sumatra, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea. I don't know why this is split in exactly half. This reminds me of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And over here, what we got is Australia and New Zealand. They talk a lot alike, but if you tell them that, they'll get rightly pissed. You guys want to see Diego Garcia? This is Diego Garcia. This is where we send the B2s. See that there? Now, the Maldives. What are the two islands claiming Diego Garcia?
Mauritius and the Maldives. Mauritius has the main, long-standing claim to the entire Chagos archipelago, including Diego Garcia. They argue Britain illegally took the islands before Mauritius gained independence, and international courts have backed them. The Maldives
Which one of those two is closer?
The Maldives is much closer. Diego Garcia sits about 730 to 800 miles from the Maldives, while it's roughly 1,340 miles from Mauritius. So the Maldives is nearly twice as close geographically.
Which one of the two is closely tied to China?
The Maldives is much more closely tied to China. Under President Muizu, the Maldives has aggressively pivoted toward Beijing. They signed a military assistance pact, upgraded ties to a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership.
Okay, so I want you to understand something. This is the Maldives. Right? Where is Mauritius? I want to make it so they both fit. God damn it. This is Mauritius. This is Diego Garcia. This is Mauritius. This is the Maldives. You see? Diego Garcia and the Maldives. Pretty close, right? All of this is the Maldives. They claim that this is part of their islands. The UK government wants to give it to these people. Do you understand the fucking problem? Not only that, the UK government wants to give it to these people, and these people are basically China. Do you understand why that's a problem? Do you understand why Trump said it's so stupid? The Maldives want to claim it and give it to the United States because they don't want China to have this base next to them. They know China sucks. So the Maldives saying it's us, it's ours, excuse me, and we want to give it to the US because we don't want the fucking Chinese to have an island this close to us. Because we know that China is asshole. Is all this making sense to you guys? When you guys talk about, like, why the fuck does Keir Starmer want to give Diego Garcia to Mauritius when, if anything, it's part of the Maldives island chain, not Mauritius? That's a whole other island chain. Completely different island chain. Like, it's even on the other side. You see this? This is the tectonic plate. It's on a fucking different tectonic plate. Do you guys understand why that whole situation is retarded? Like, that wasn't supposed to be part of the show, but I'm just trying to give you guys some world knowledge. So when anyone asks you, yeah, but what's going on with UK? You're like, well, bruh, UK is retarded. I don't know what's up with them. UK government is run by socialists and outright communists. Yeah. I have one last thing I wanted to share because we had this guy here earlier and he had this comment. Islam is Sharia cancels Noah. Islam says Sharia law cancels Noahide law. Muslims will declare jihad on Sanhedrin if they try Noahide, decapitate any Christian dini. Islam versus the synagogue of Satan. I want to explain to you why Islam is the synagogue of Satan. This is the Kaaba, and it's got Hubal. It was always Hubal, who was the god of Mecca, the god of the Kaaba, the god of the Islamist, the moon god, Hubal, who uses arrows for divination, as is clearly said in the history of these people. Now, when I go into these academic paper, I go into the thesis, which is that the synagogue of Baal is Islam. I go into the methods and sources, ancient sacrificial foundation, Molech, Baal, Hamon, and child sacrifice. All there, Molech, Baal, Hamon, all the history of Baal Hamon, the Arabian continuity, how Baal Hamon was transported into Mecca. Baal Hamon, Hubal, Huba'Allah. This is by Ibn al-Kalbi, Kitab al-Astan, the Book of Idols. This is well-established academic research. the Quraysh idols before Islam. Ibn al-Kalbi in the Book of Idols, there's a good description here. The greatest of the Kurdish idols, reg agate material. It's kind of like pearl. It had a human form, broken right hand, and sometimes it has two right hands. Gold replacement hand. Hubal was imported from Syria, Levant, Mesopotamia. Etymology linguistic, Hubal, he is Baal. Huba'Allah, he is Allah. Academic references. This is an academic report. I made an academic investigative report. Hubal. You know how they change the name over time? Hubal is Baal. There's many references. I keep all the references because you have to reference your materials and the papers and the books that are being references. Huba'Allah, and Allah, the pre-Islamic Meccan practice. Pre-Islamic, this is before Islam. The god of the Kaaba was Huba'Allah. This is from Al-Azraqi. Akbar Makkah describes Hubal at idol at this Baal, Hubal, also known as Ba'Allah, Allah. The Quraysh offered sacrifices before him in Allah's name. History, Volume 6, Record of the Quraysh, War Cry, and Uhud. Exalt Hubal, that was their war cries. Hubal was the chief god of the Kaaba. This is all documented. Continuity of Kabbalah's ritual practice. Islam did not preserve Hubal as an idol, but it did preserve the Kaaba's ritual center of worship, preserved ritual actions around it, especially circumambulation and reverence towards the black stone, pre-Islamic Mecca. Like, these people are pagans, and I don't care that you're a pagan. I care that you are a pagan, claim you're not a pagan, and kill other people for paganism. You fucking pagan hypocrite. If you hate pagans so much, you would have to, direct your aggression inward. Muslims still circumambulate the Hajj and Umrah. These are all ancient pre-Islamic practices. The modern ritual continues with infants, martyrdom, and symbolic offerings. This subsequent connects modern infant martyrdom symbolism because they still want to martyr their children. They still will put bombast on kids in the name of Allah. They still do all the same things. They still are all about dressing their little babies like martyrs. Biblical patterns. In Judges, this is another comment I start. Worship of the crescent moons. Yes, in Judges mentions the crescent moons ornaments of the Midianites. These people were not Jewish in the time of Judges. They were not Abrahamic. Abraham didn't go build this. Abraham hated this shit. Well, not him specifically, but like the Jewish people of the time. In Numbers, the Midianites led Israel into Baal. The Midianites. The mediums with the crescent ornaments led Israel to Baal, who Baal worship. Arabia as Baal sphere. And they sacrifice babies, yes. Like I want to, because this guy was so all about his biblical history and his Noahide and his Islam. I just want to prove that this is all bullshit. These passages support the argument that the Bible condemns Baal worship, Huba'al, Huba'Allah. By crescent sacred stone, the report compares crescent symbol, the black stone connected to Kaaba's cult of Allah, Judges, King Deuteronomy. Expanded biblical parallels, crescent animal of Baal of Peor, and sacred stones in Judges, Numbers, Acts, Deuteronomy. The Midianite kings, the Moabite, the subjection of Israel into the worship of Baal. Who was always calling Israelis to worship Baal, Huba'Allah? It's the synagogue of Baal, the Muslims. They weren't Muslims yet, but Muhammad is no different. Yeah, Muhammad took parts of Judaism and Christianity and mixed it into his Bedouin myth to create his religion. In Judges, and the weight of the golden earrings that he requested was beside crescent ornaments and pendants, purple garments. This is in Judges and Numbers. While Israel lived in Sidon, they began to whore the daughters of Moab, sacrifices to their Gaul, Baal of Peor. And Moses said to Judges, kill those of his men who have yoked themselves to Baal of Peor, Huba'al, Huba'Allah. With two chats showing, we can't read. Oh, I'm sorry. But I'm going to link the article, which was the whole point of this. I'm just showing you first. The linguistic pathing, Hubal, Northwestern Semitic. He is Baal. Hubal, Arabian form, contraction, Hubal. He is Baal. They just say Hubal. Huba'Allah, fusion, Arabic Allah, the God. Title, absorbed, supreme deity. Final chain, Molech, Baal Hamon, Punic inscriptions. Baal Hamon, Hubal, Huba'Allah. This is shown by Ibn al-Kalbi, the etymology. Like, it's all here. It's all here. It's an academic level report. So here it is. I'm going to link it to you guys. And after that, we're off. All right. Well, I want to bless you all before I go. Bless you, chat. Bless you, people who watch in the future. Bless your health. Bless your wealth. Bless your homes, your plans, your family, your loved ones, and everything you touch. Peace.